Since June 25th, relentless rains and flash floods have claimed at least 22 lives and injured 11 others in Khyber Pakhtunkhwa, according to a report by the Provincial Disaster Management Authority. The report detailed incidents across multiple districts including Swat, Abbottabad, Mansehra, Chitral, Buner, and others. Among the deceased were 7 men, 5 women, and 10 children. Swat was the hardest hit, accounting for 14 deaths and 6 injuries. The PDMA said that 75 homes were damaged, 64 partially, and 11 completely destroyed. Monsoon rains are expected to continue till July 1st, prompting the PDMA to alert local administrations and emphasize preventive measures. Meanwhile, a rescue operation continued for the 4th consecutive day in the Swat River, where a group of 13 tourists were swept away by flash floods. 12 bodies have been recovered so far, while 1 child remains missing. Rescue teams are scouring areas like Swat Bypass, Kanju, and Brikol. Advisor to the KP Chief Minister Barrister Muhammad Ali Saif said 80 people had been rescued. However, he noted that an air ambulance could not be deployed due to lack of equipment and adverse weather. Following the incident, Chief Minister Gandapur ordered an investigation and announced compensation for the deceased. The government suspended 3 officials from Swat's district administration and 1 from the relief department. Protests erupted in Mingora, where demonstrators from Swat, Olasi Pasoon, and civil society condemned the delayed rescue response. Political activists, traders, and lawyers also joined in, demanding a modern rescue system, including helicopter services and early flood warning protocols. Protesters further raised concerns over unchecked riverbed mining in Swat, which they claim has altered the river's course, worsening flood risks. Elsewhere in Punjab, heavy rain triggered roof collapses across multiple cities. In Rawalpindi, 6 members of a family were injured when the roof of their house near Lal Haveli caved in. 2 of them were shifted to the district hospital and are now out of danger. Lahore also saw a roof collapse in Old Anarkali due to days of rain. 5 people were injured and taken to Ganga Ram Hospital. Amid forecasts of more heavy rainfall, Rawalpindi's Deputy Commissioner has imposed a 30-day ban on swimming, bathing, or loitering near Nala Lai and its tributaries. The ban will remain in effect until July 27 under Section 144, and violators will face legal action. The Foreign Office has welcomed a supplemental award issued by the Permanent Court of Arbitration in The Hague regarding the Indus Waters case. The court affirmed its competence to proceed with the Pakistan-India dispute over the Kishan Ganga and Rattle hydroelectric projects, despite India's unilateral decision in April to place the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance following the Pahalgam attack. Pakistan has termed any suspension of the treaty illegal, stressing it contains no provision for unilateral action. The PCA clarified that the treaty remains in force unless mutually terminated and that India cannot unilaterally suspend ongoing dispute resolution. The award, Pakistan said, vindicates its stance and calls on India to resume full compliance. India, however, rejected the award and the court's legitimacy, calling the process a charade. A Reuters investigation has uncovered the extent of sectarian killings targeting Syria's Alawite minority after an anti-Assad insurgency took over in March. Over 3 days, nearly 1,500 Alawites were killed across 40 sites marked by massacres, looting, and arson. The perpetrators included units now serving in Syria's new government based in Damascus. Victims' homes were often vandalized with threatening graffiti. One message read, "You were a minority and now you are a rarity." The violence, fueled by years of resentment toward Alawites who were associated with the Assad regime, has deepened Syria's sectarian divide. The chain of command, Reuters found, led from local attackers to top leaders now part of the ruling administration. Among the units involved were ex-HTS groups like Unit 400 and the Ottoman Brigade, along with Sunni militias such as the Sultan Suleiman Shah Brigade and the Hamza Division, both sanctioned by the European Union for human rights abuses. The United States has issued no sanctions over the killings. President Ahmed al-Shara, a former HTS leader, has denounced the violence and ordered an investigation. A presidential committee is gathering testimonies from over 1,000 people and will present findings in 2 weeks. Al-Shara vowed justice even if the perpetrators are from his own ranks, stating, "We won't accept that any blood be shed unjustly." Despite claims of unity, killings continue. Reuters found the government had issued orders on March 6 to crush a coastal uprising, referring to Assad loyalists as Sulaul or remnants. Some fighters interpreted this to mean all Alawites. Tartar's governor Ahmed al-Shami said 350 people died in his province, but insisted Alawites aren't being targeted. Neither Syria's new government nor US officials responded to Reuters' detailed questions. The European Union acknowledged the crimes but did not explain why certain armed groups remain unsanctioned. Palestinians in northern Gaza endured one of the heaviest nights of Israeli bombardment in weeks, just as Israeli officials prepared for ceasefire talks in Washington. Despite US President Donald Trump's recent push to end the 20-month-old war, fighting on the ground raged on. Residents reported relentless airstrikes and tank fire, with Israeli forces pushing into the Zaytoun suburb of Gaza City. At least 4 schools sheltering displaced families were bombed after evacuation orders. By the end of the day, health officials reported at least 38 people killed, including 10 in Zaytoun and 13 near Khan Yunis. The Israeli military claimed it targeted militant command centers in northern Gaza while taking steps to avoid civilian harm. The bombardment followed new evacuation orders to areas already devastated by previous operations. Israel said it planned to continue fighting Hamas fighters in Gaza City. Meanwhile, Israeli Strategic Affairs Minister Ron Dermer arrived in Washington for talks on Iran, Gaza, and a possible regional deal. Israel's Security Cabinet also convened to decide the next steps. Hamas said progress in ceasefire efforts depends on Israel agreeing to end the war and withdraw. Israel insists Hamas must first disarm and dismantle. Israel reportedly agreed to a US proposed 60-day ceasefire and hostage deal, placing responsibility on Hamas. The war began on October 7, 2023, when Hamas killed 1,200 people in Israel and took 251 hostages. Since then, over 56,000 Palestinians have been killed. Back in Israel, pressure is growing on Prime Minister Netanyahu to end the war. A recent poll showed that nearly 2/3 of Israelis want the Gaza campaign to stop. Protests continue in Tel Aviv, with former hostages and political rivals calling for Netanyahu's resignation and a comprehensive deal to release the remaining hostages and restore calm.